So for me, hearing God's voice began when I was very little. God began to speak to me from a young age through various impressions, thoughts that were coming to my head randomly that I began to recognize in terms of a pattern that when I would dream things, think things, feel things, they would start to happen around me. I'd feel things about family members, and then it would happen. Thankfully, God was really kind. My parents are amazing, and they helped recognize that as the voice of God. I then began to practice hearing God's voice, initially with journaling. Read a great book by Mark Verkler called Hearing the Voice of God. And I began to journal, and I began to write some stuff down. And that really helped me gain an internal track record with God as to how to hear Him. I think the key things for me were very simple impressions, nothing super dramatic. It wasn't like I was hearing Sean Connery saying, "Julian, this is the Lord speaking." It was very simple, little thoughts, little impressions, little pictures, which then began to translate. I think the thing for me around developing this gift was actually when I started stepping out. And I'd say from about the age of 9, I began to step out in prophetic words and sharing what I was feeling and what I was seeing. And just seeing how that worked out, seeing how that impacted people, seeing how I began to interact with that and began to recognize, this is God. And I think the big key around stewarding the prophetic is actually about obedience. And crossing the fear factor, and actually just stepping out and really believing that what you got is something from God. I think the biggest lesson I learned in the prophetic was the simplicity of encouragement. Encouragement is the simplest form of the prophetic, and it helped me to begin to realize that no matter what I was doing, no matter what I was feeling, no matter what pictures I was getting, if I could just encourage people, that would reveal the heart of God. And I began to do that with some of the more specific words of knowledge or revelation I was getting. I would wrap it in encouragement so that even if the revelation or the word of knowledge was wrong, the encouragement was always going to leave people feeling happy, feeling like they're connected with their loving, kind Father. And I think that's the big one that's really helped me in growing in the prophetic is encouragement, stepping out, and obedience.